everyone, I am Tacet and welcome back to another episode of our Gems of War Let's Play series. Today we're going to be going over the mini games of arena and treasure hunting, both of which are really good to be able to farm resources early on in the game. So we're also going to be doing all of our keys that we have accumulated from doing arena, as well as from the guild that we ended up joining in the previous video. So first, let's go over arena. Arena we unlocked during our previous video when we defeated Shegra, and you can just click on this, and for 1,000 gold you get to play a little mini game. It's basically a even playing field drafting system, similar to like many other games arena, where you pick from one of 3 commons, one of 3 rares, and then one of 3 ultra rares. So we'll just go through this real quick. From these, I will want to go ship cannon, as it has the best damage of these 3. Normally you do want to start with a decent amount of damage. From here, we do not have any particularly good picks that we can make. Let's see, how much attack does Pirate give? 6 attack? I think we could actually deal with a Pirate. Having him first slot with that high base attack, you can see all of these actually have... Oh wait, never mind. One thing that you should note right now is that there are these bonuses, and for some reason they are, I believe, supposed to work, but they currently do not. So as you can see, these stats are actually a little bit higher than they should be. I'm still going to be going a Pirate. His stats are going to be a little bit lower than what they just showed there, but we're still going to want to take him. And we just took a blue-yellow, so we do need to try finding colors that are not brown or a blue-yellow. So we're probably just going to have to go for one of these 2 reds, and in this case I'd probably go for a blast cannon, as it is the tankier choice, and we can just set that as a last slot, and now we have 2 cannons. And as far as ordering, we would order it something like this. You can switch the order whenever you are in arena. If you do not like, you can even click retire and then repick it, though you will lose a good majority of the 1,000 of the gold that you spend to get in here. But other than that, these are the rewards. I ended up doing this a lot yesterday, getting up to the 8 wins. But all you have to do is get as far as 3 wins, and you already easily paid for the cost of getting in. Plus, you get some trophies, a glory key. These are glory keys, even though they're showing as gold keys, and a decent amount of souls. And this was buffed pretty recently, too, on PC and mobile. So you can see as the final reward, 4,000 gold, 30 trophies, 5 glory keys, and 1,200 souls. I actually have a little over 9,000 souls now, because yesterday we ended up going through arena. Here are on screen some of the arena battles that we were doing. Most of them were won from like a really good pick, like a saber-toothed tiger or a archer or ranger, I should say, and things like that. You may notice in the bottom right that some of them say hard, some of them say normal. You can do arena on either of those 2 difficulties. Putting it on hard will give you an additional 25% souls, which will of course help boost up all of those rewards that we could be getting from just completing arena. But normally you want to do it no higher than on a normal or hard, mainly because anything higher than that is going to be pretty difficult, especially this early on in the game. But that's what we did the other day. We ended up getting 48 wins, 30 consecutive wins. We went 48 and 3. Of course, as a newer player, you probably won't get as many wins, but still, it is fairly relatively easy to be able to get wins once you start figuring out how to draft. I'll put in the top right and in the comment section below a video on how to draft in arena. I won't explain it all completely here. I just briefly went over it. It's a very complicated thing. But just go check out that other video if you still have questions, or you can also just leave questions if you have anything that you have concerning drafting in arena. Normally you do want to cover every single color if you can. You can click on your hero and switch his weapon to any weapon that you currently have available. Of course, as a newer player, one of the only disadvantages we really have is the fact that we have basically no selection of weapons. But other than that, as far as the drafting itself for the common, rare, and ultra rare, you'll definitely be able to be at an even playing field. Plus, arena is based on around your level. So people who are fighting are going to be around like 15 to around level 35-ish whenever we find someone in arena. But anyways, that's arena. I won't actually be playing the whole arena match. We did that 6 times on stream the other day. Because arena does take about 45 to minutes to an hour, especially if you try setting it up too hard. One thing to note is if you go back to arena, you can end it at any time just by clicking this X. Don't click retire, but if you just click X and then you come back, you can see it still saves all of your progress. So you can stop doing arena at any time, despite it taking roughly an hour to complete, or a little bit lower depending on how good a team you have. You can end it or just stop doing it, then come back to it later and then complete it at a different time. And next up is the treasure hunt minigame, which also gives a really good amount of resources. This is actually one of the main ways that you would obtain gems in this game. You can also attain pretty much every single basic resource from doing this. You get trait stones, you get gold, you get glory, and you can even get the chance of getting keys. So let's just go over this real quick. For the most part, we will be wanting to take all of the smaller gems. We do want to try keeping at least one specific color on the board just so we don't cap out the top. We need to make sure the top has a lot of opportunity to gain us extra turns. Anytime we do a 5 times, we gain an additional turn, and anytime we take a 4 times, we preserve our turn. Let's see, like right here, look at the counter, it'll still be 13 after we do that. And as you saw with the 5 times that we were doing, like right here. Oh, nope, it went away. But whenever we do a 5 times, it gives us an additional turn there. So we're just going to go through this. You may notice that I started out with 10 turns. The reason we started out with 10 turns is I got an additional 2 turns from my green guild guardian in the guild that I am in right now, which is one of the additional advantages of being in the guild. If you're not in a guild, I definitely highly advise getting yourself into one. But we're just going to go through this map real quick. I'm not trying to do it too hard just because I just wanted to do this for explaining purposes. Generally, you want to take from the bottom, take the smaller coins. Make sure you don't take too much of a specific color. You normally want to keep at least 1 or 2 colors on the board just so you can have a higher chance of getting extra turns on them as they accumulate towards the top. Because extra turns is the main thing that will save you on any given treasure map to keep doing it further. And when you have a limited amount of them, you won't really be able to do too excessive amount. Once you complete Zolkari, we'll be able to get a troop that can farm maps very, very effectively. She's actually the best map farmer in the entire game, but currently we do not have her, and I will explain her more as we get further into the game to that point. But that is treasure hunt. As you can see, we got it right to the 30 turns, just so we get the second trait stone. Stop that perfectly for the second trait stone, and there we go. We get our trait stones, we get some glory, bunch of gold, souls. We didn't actually get any gems. We did have a chance. Any green chests do have the chance of giving gems, as you can see here. You basically want to stop at whatever chest you want the most. So if you want glory, you'd want to stop at bronze. If you want gems, you would stop at green. And if you wanted keys, you just keep going as far as you possibly can. But that is the treasure hunt minigame. One thing you will also notice is that there are a bunch of kingdoms here, and we can unlock them for gold. When you first start out in the game, you want to use a good majority of your gold, if not all of your gold, unlocking kingdoms. You can start doing this as low as like level 6. I believe even the tutorial makes you do it. It makes you buy a Donna. As you can see, the cost starts to increase as you buy more and more of these, and it keeps increasing until we eventually reach a cost of 4,000 per kingdom. As you can see, we're up to 1,000 now. I think the next one's like 1,250 or 1,500, and this keeps going up until every single kingdom we buy will start to be cost a 5,000 gold. As you can see, we're starting to come up to some red kingdoms here. This means we do not have the level to be able to unlock it. Every single kingdom is obtainable once we hit level 30. So once we hit level 30, we will just be able to buy out pretty much every single kingdom if you save all of your gold for this purpose. If you're wondering how we have all that gold, again, that was from all of the arena runs that we were doing the other day, which has accumulated a good majority of that gold. And PvP is also a good way to gain that gold, but we'll be going over that in a future video, as reset day is tomorrow. One thing to note, even though I haven't gone over too many of the mechanics with reset days, a lot of things reset on Monday. For my time zone, it's 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when this occurs, and it causes an event switchover, which brings in new troops every single week, as well as new objectives, and resets your PvP. But all of that in a future video. Let's just go and keep unlocking our glorious kingdom expansions. There's also, as you can see, every single time we do this, we're actually getting this little banner thing. It says we get a new banner. These banners, of course, I showed it in the previous video, but we can use these to set our teams to a specific color bonus. Like right here, you can see the brown-green one that we just got is right here. Obviously, we wouldn't want to use that for this team, but if we wanted to make a team around it, we can now. As you can see, every single banner has a +2 total bonus. And we're getting +1 green on that, and then +1 red on the other one. Well, let's just keep continuing our expanse. We are going to run out of gold, and by level 30, I don't even know if I will have enough gold to be able to purchase all of them. But this is one of the first main gold objectives in this game. There are a lot of things you can spend gold on, and this is definitely by far the first thing you want to do is unlock every single kingdom with your gold. And I believe we've almost hit every single one that we possibly can. We're almost going to run out of gold soon, in which case we'll have to start doing some more PvP. But I think we can do like maybe 1 or 2 more kingdoms, and then that'll be it. And then we can open up all of our keys. Okay, and there we go. That is every single kingdom we can possibly unlock as of currently. And as you can see, if we check some of these, actually, did they reduce the level? I'm noticing that all of these exterior ones are 25 now, so I might be wrong. I believe at level 25 then you can unlock all the kingdoms. I recall it being 30 the first time I did it around, but they may have lowered it since then. Yeah, I scratched that. You only need to be level 25 to unlock every single kingdom in the game. And as you can see, once you start unlocking more kingdoms, the expanse of how far you can see increases. And I believe we can see every single possible guild that is in the game right now, which most of which are unlocked at level 25. So we'll get that soon. So let's go now into the keys. Pretty much all of these keys were accumulated either from Arena, either just getting them randomly, or from the guild, which of course I want to be in those guilds, at least some kind, even though this guild isn't that good of a guild. It's just some random one we ended up joining. Actually, I think we have the most trophies in this entire guild right now, or pretty close to it as far as this week. Like if we go to roster and sort it by trophies, because of how many arena runs we did, all 6 of them, we now have 180 trophies, only 4 below that, and we didn't even repick any of them either. Normally, I didn't want to repick any of them the other day just to make it representative of a newer player experience, because most players won't really repick, though it is a good idea. Like this team might not be the best, and if you really wanted to, all you would have to do is just click retire, and then you can go back and repick. As you can see, you get some of the gold back, only 100, so we lost 900 gold, but then we can just repick and go back in. Normally, this is actually good to do if you have like an absolutely bad draft. It's better just to repick it, spend the 900 extra gold or however much it will cost you, and just repick it rather than have to go through arena, only get like 4 wins, and then just waste like half an hour only getting those 4 wins. It's normally better just to repick and go for a solid team so you can hopefully get a 8 win. But let's go now and open some of these keys. I'll save the glory keys for last. We also have 3 event keys I got from the guild, though out of every single key is in the game, event keys are the only keys you do not want to use right away. Every single week it is based on a separate kingdom. I'll explain them more, particularly next week, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using it next week. But all you need to know is you don't really want to use event keys right away if you happen to get any. But anyways, let's start off at these gold keys, and I will explain any of the troops that we get that are interesting. For a rider, very good. We'll need that in an all goblin team. Removes a row, deals damage to the first enemy. You'd mainly only use them in a all goblin team. The Jin is useless. Ignore it. Dark Maiden, you don't really use too much. It can be a pretty good yellow counter though if you needed it. It transforms all yellows to a color of choice, then gives your ally or your first ally a bunch of HP. You don't really need it that much though. Fire Lizard is really good. It's basically like a higher mana cost Rockworm that has better damage. Deals damage to a random enemy, burns them. Burning in particular is very good earlier on in the game. That's 3 damage per turn, and then creates 7 red. No, you won't really need too much. He's just a brown counter. Deals damage to a random enemy, then triple if it is brown. Nymph is a cheap way if you needed a entangle. If you find that you're fighting a lot of teams that have high attack, and you just need a white to disable them, Nymph is normally the way to go. For only 6 mana, she entangles and destroys some of their armor. Entangle is the main thing you need, which for the duration of the effect will keep them at 0 attack and prevent them from gaining additional attack. We got Summoner, gives all allies 4 life and summons a level 1 goal. Summoner we don't really need. We end up getting Dark Master, and Dark Master is a lot better than Summoner. We got a Templar. Templar is normally used with Paladins and stuff of the like, or Rowain to be able to armor buff it. Gives all allies some armor and additional armor at a 5-to-1 ratio based on how many reds it transforms into green. Bombot is a very interesting troop. Similarly, you'd want to buff it up with armor, and it has a 2-to-1 ratio based on that armor, and it does kill itself after its ability, but it does have a very high damage potential once you start getting armor buffs on it. Baby Dragon is actually a really good drop that we might be able to use in things. And all Dragon team is actually one of the strongest teams for a early game player right now, and Baby Dragon is one of the 4 components that we will need for that, unless we happen to get a Dragon Soul, but that's a legendary and very unlikely that we'll get that. But it deals a little bit of damage to a random enemy and then transforms into a random dragon, and that random dragon can be literally any dragon in the game, even if you don't already own it, including legendary dragons. So definitely pretty interesting. Dwarven Miner is useless. For 3 mana, it only destroys a gem. Anything you can do with 1 gem destroy, you can do with a swipe, a manual swipe. And it has a 25% chance to gain 100 gold, which is probably the only good thing about him, but you can easily gain gold by other means. Giant Toadstool, also useless. This creates some gems of a chosen color, and then a 20% chance to transform them into a Giant Toadstool. The only possible thing that you might be able to do with a Giant Toadstool is earlier on in the game, most people likely won't have their Giant Toadstool upgraded, so you could transform them into a Toadstool that's basically like a 5-0 enemy, though there might be slightly stronger, slightly weaker. Actually, they can't be any weaker than this, but theirs might be just slightly stronger, but you could probably disable their team some with this, but the chance is so low that you won't really be able to use it. Ghouls, an okay troop, not a particularly strong one. It used to be stronger, but then it got rebalanced into a slightly weaker. It deals 4 damage to the first enemy, then reduces all their skills by 1, and then destroys 6 gems. This early on in the game, it is somewhat decent, but it does not scale well later on at all. Goblins, really good that we get more goblins. We actually get 2 more here. Of course, this is one of the troops that we start off with. Very good troop. Blade Warden, you basically never need to use. Only good thing about him is he does have armor piercing. You'd basically only ever use him in a first slot with an all-elf team. Currently, there's not any good all-elf teams that are viable, though, and you're better off just going Goblin if you need a green. Golem, a pretty good troop if you need a stone skin, because it only has, it's a common, so it's easier to trait. Trait stones will be going over a lot more in the future, but it's one of the cheapest stone skins in the entire game, which is reduces all damage from skulls by 50%. It explodes your gem, reduces all enemy armor by 2, and then an additional 1 based on every ground destroyed. A pretty good early game troop. Northrender, you would normally use this with Valkyrie and other things that need blue. A fairly okay troop. It gives 8 blues to the board and then gains some attack. It's fairly decent if you can get a good all-blue team going with it. Pride Hunter deals damage to an enemy and then silence them. Pretty good in arena. Throughout the game, you don't really need this, though. There's not that many good Raksha in this game. Actually, Pride Hunter is one of the better Raksha in the game, so there's not too many options for it. Priestess is really good with armor, things that need armor buffing. For example, things like the Bombot that we just got, things like Verwain, things like Paladin. It cleanses an ally, gives them barrier, which protects against 1 instance of damage, and then gives them some armor. So really good for anything that needs to actually use their armor and stay protected. Remnant, we won't really need too much. It just explodes 2 gems and then gains 2 to a random stat. Unless we get Corrupted Sorceress, we wouldn't really need Remnant. Rockworm's actually a really good drop. It's one of the best looping troops that you can easily obtain in the game. The other one would be the lava or the fire lizard that we actually just got as well. But it deals damage to the last enemy and then create 7 brown gems. Anything that hits the last enemy tends to be pretty good earlier on in the game, because the format that most people do earlier on in the game, they don't normally put a back tank into the back of their team, so it tends to be weaker. So we can easily use that to penetrate the back of their team and just kill them from the bottom up. It also creates its own color, and any troop that can create its own color tends to be pretty good, because it can just keep looping with itself, even if you don't have anything to assist it. And if you do have something to assist it, like a Deep Borer or Apothecary or anything that can create brown on the board, it'll be very good for it. Ship Cannon deals damage to 3 different enemies. There's currently still a glitch in which it picks all of the targets before it does its cast. So you could basically do a... Like, when you cast it, you could, let's say there's only like 2 enemies left, and it will do like 2 on 1. Let's say the first shot kills it, and then it'll do a second shot on it, and that shot will do nothing because it's already dead, because it picks the targets before anything actually dies. It doesn't like retroactively do a shot and then another shot and then another shot like some other troops in the game. So ship cannon is still very good because of its damage, but it still does have that glitch as of the current moment in the game, so we probably won't be using it for that reason. Serpent, pretty good with North Render that we just got, and it's from the same kingdom. Poisons the first 2 enemy, which is really good earlier on in the game. There's a 50% chance to do 1 true damage every single turn, which means they just lose an HP. Then creates 9 reds, and then gains some life based on its magic. Oh, Thrall. Thrall is actually somewhat decent, mainly because we got Dark Master, as well it is the event this week, which gives us bonus stats on him. So we'll definitely be able to use him. He is, in a normal week, pretty weak, but given that we're getting this many bonuses, he'll be a competent troop to be able to use. He destroys 6 random gems, takes 2 damage, and if there are 13 or more red gems on the board, he automatically gains an extra turn, even if it wasn't already on the board. And a Wraith, which we already went over last time. Plus, we get a variety of trait stones, and we get some glory, souls, and gold. So let's do another 50. And again, just go through anything that is viable here. Alkalite, here's one of the brown spawners I was talking about. Creates 9 brown, then increases a random skill. Dark Master. Oh, another Dark Master. We'll be able to play around with him quite a bit. I'm going to be streaming after this, going through PvP and stuff like that, and I'll be explaining that in a later video. Give 5 life to an ally, or Dryad here, is a very, very good early game troop. We also need her to be able to do a map farming team with our Goblin Shaman that we already have. But it gives an ally life, heals them based on the magic, and then also gives them a barrier and creates 8 green gems. It does a lot. Actually, I think it does like the most number of things of like any troop of a Ultra Rare or lower. So she is pretty versatile, given that she can do 4 different things, mostly all support things, as well as her traits are all supportive in being able to help your troops. Pirate is decent, but we need other troops to be able to make it work. It gives all allied rogues some attack, and then gives you 10 gold boosted by all allies rogues at a 5 times boost ratio, so it can accumulate you quite a bit of gold. He's normally only used in all rogue teams, particularly with Bonnie Rose and other things that scale based off of gold. Succubus is a decent troop for earlier on in the game, mainly because we'll be able to Death Mark spam. It drains some mana from an enemy and then places Death Mark on them. Death Mark is pretty powerful, and we can take out enemies that are a lot stronger than us with it, though we probably won't be needing it too much this early because we'll be able to use things like a White, which if we get enough magic on it, we'll just be able to one-shot. It steals life from an enemy, which means it does true damage to them, which means it hits their HP and then gains that HP. It also creates 5 purples and gains souls based on its magic too. So it's 3 things that scale off of magic: how much true damage it does, how much life it gains, and how many souls it gains. So a very, very good troop to have. A White that's probably going to be one of our main soul farmers. It's normally good to use something like a White or anything that can gain souls naturally on your team, because you're going to be needing a lot of souls in this game to be able to upgrade everything. Here we have a Centaur Scout. Won't really be needing him too much. He just destroys a row. We're most likely just going to be using the Boar Rider instead. Even though Boar Rider only removes a row, which means it doesn't gain mana for it, he does gain mana for it, but he doesn't automatically gain an extra turn, which is pretty huge, and he won't be as viable because of it. And Direwolf. Direwolf actually got a huge buff recently and is fairly decent. Console's got this buff too. It entangles and places a Hunter's Mark on the first enemy and deals damage to them. And if there are 13 or more green on the board, you automatically get an extra turn. We could actually put something like our Dryad with it, and it would be a pretty good assist. Is she still here? Yeah, we could use something like our Dryad with it, because it would give it barrier, it would give it life, it would give it some heal, and we'd get that 8 green gems that will help get its extra turn, as well as just feed it mana. Kofishi and Mo, both of which are pretty much useless earlier on in the game. The main reason is they do stun. Stun prevents a troop from using any of their traits, but earlier on in the game, traits are basically non-existent, so you don't really need to worry about the stun mechanic as of currently. Sunsail, deals some damage to an enemy and then diseases them. Disease is basically like a mini silence. It makes sure they only get half of their mana whenever they accumulate mana, whereas silence prevents them from accumulating any mana and prevents them from using their ability. But he then also transforms all yellow to brown and does additional damage based on that at a 3-to-1 ratio on how many were converted. Taurus is one of the weakest troops in the game. It deals damage to the first enemy, and if he's damaged, it deals 8 to the second enemy as well. You never have any reason to use him. You'd use a goblin or something else instead. Villager is kind of interesting. We don't have the other troop that we need to make this work. He transforms into a werewolf and converts all yellow to brown. And werewolf is a brown-purple epic. Unfortunately, we do not have a werewolf, nor will we be getting a werewolf anytime soon. So when he converts, the werewolf would probably be pretty weak. But if we could ever find a werewolf, Villager would actually be a pretty decent early game tank. And another Wrath. Wow, I think we've gotten, like, every single time we opened up gold keys, we've gotten one. And then just the rest of the resources. So let's just open these 50, go over anything that's applicable here. Hippogriff, we won't really need. Just deals damage to an enemy, triple if they're 100 mark. Unfortunately, there's not really any good hunter mark placements in this game. And most of them are green, which is a huge mana conflict since it already uses green. Next up is the Creeper, another one that does disease. It just deals damage to an enemy and then, kind of like the Sunsail, and then diseases them, except it doesn't have the convert and has a slightly lower mana cost. Oh, Dragon Egg, another component we need if we want to make an all-dragon team. We have 2 of the 4 components now. It summons a baby dragon, which we just obtained from the other 50, and then gains 6 life. One thing to note is it does have a base attack of 0. Kind of like Fortress Gate, except it's not as tanky as a Fortress Gate. This is the only one of 2 troops currently have it. I mean, only 2 troops currently have 0 attack, Fortress Gate and Dragon Eggs. And while their attack is excessively low, they do have a higher armor and HP because of that. All troops are basically scaled like that. If they have a higher attack, that means their HP and armor will be lower. And if they have a lower attack, their armor and HP will be higher. That's pretty much the scaling that goes with every single troop. Here we go. We got 2 new Mad Prophets. He is an okay magic buffer. You can see there's actually going to be quite a few applicable uses for him. You'll notice on like a lot of these troops, our magic are fairly low, like 3, 1, 1, maybe 2 on some of them. But this guy, he'll give a little bit of mana to all of our allies and then give them all 5 additional magic, which this early in the game can have some uses. The only problem is he does cost 18 mana, a very, very huge mana cost, and he can only cast this once per battle. Even if you had multiple in a team, you can only cast this ability once. So because of that, you'd only put 1 probably in your second slot. Orc here, it destroys some skulls and gains attack if he's damaged when he casts that. Pretty useless troop, you would never need to use him. Ogre may seem a little bad because his exploded gem destroying it's just a random gem on the board tends to be pretty bad, but he does gain pretty decent stats as he starts leveling up. So you may use him in all giant team. Currently there aren't really any, but with Broken Spire with the bonus stats, he may be a decent thing, since the first class that you get from the first kingdom can be a giant, which I'll go over later because we haven't even unlocked it yet. But here is Penitent. It places 2 death marks, which can be pretty good. Death marks, of course, 10% chance every single turn that it could kill the enemy instantly. So very, very effective. Unfortunately, he does deal damage to himself, and at this low of a level, he'd basically kill himself in 2 turns. And if those death marks don't do anything good, then he'll just be a useless troop. Peasant, you'll basically never need. He's okay in arena, but there isn't much use for him other than board control. His stats and traits are just way too weak to be able to be viable. Reaver, if you can do a web, would be decent. He deals 2 damage. It's kind of like the Taurus green thing that we were talking about earlier that's useless, except he's actually viable. He deals 2 damage to the first 2 enemies, or damage to the first 2 enemies based on magic, and then an additional 8 if there are anything on the enemy team that is webbed. So that's just an additional 16 damage just for having a web if you happen to web anything on the enemy team. And look, the troop that is made to assist them is right here, Spider Knight, which deals damage to an enemy and then webs. So we already have that combo right there. Both of them are elves, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Night Elf and a elf. So we technically could use that combo. I don't think I will, though. Well, we could try it out. And we got a Satyr, which deals damage to the last enemy and gains an extra turn. It's basically like a goblin that can only hit the last enemy. And as a trade-off, it does slightly more damage, though Goblin is still much better than this troop. So I'll just use Goblin instead. And there we go. And then let's just do our last 5 gold keys. And, oh, a Dragonette. She's not one of the dragons we need to make an all-dragon team, though we could put her in it, since we got her if we can't find an alternative. She deals damage to an enemy and then causes 1 to 5 status effects. That right there is extremely strong this early on in the game, and we'll have a lot of fun with her. We really need a giant spider or something to feed her mana, though, of which we currently don't have in our collection, if I'm not mistaken. So now let's go over to these glory keys. Glory keys can drop everything from a rare or higher in this game, which makes them very, very good for just accumulating pretty much just everything in the game. We can gain epics from this, we can gain legendaries, and there's even a chance, a very, very slim chance, that we could even gain mythics. So hopefully we get some good drops from these. Glory keys is likely where you're going to be gaining most of your better troops. One thing to note is you should never, ever, ever, ever spend your glory directly on glory keys. You should spend them on the shop, on the weekly events, every single week. As you can see, there are two right here, the Night Hag and the Toad, and they give a variety of resources, like a new troop that just came out, as well as some glory keys, gold keys, bunch of gold, trait stones based on whatever its color is, and some minor trait stones. These arcanes in particular are actually pretty valuable because they tend to be a little bit hard to obtain. But yeah, you want to save it for these two packs. As you can see, we haven't had enough glory yet to really be able to do any of them. You may see right here also that we have a little blinking icon on our home kingdom. We're going to click that real quick, and this will give us a bunch of gold that we haven't collected, as well as a chance to get tribute. Every single kingdom has a chance on its kingdom percent chance here that it will give a tribute, and that tribute is just whatever this is right here. And we have it 2 times because this is our home kingdom. I'm probably just going to set my home kingdom over here to a White Helm. White Helm is actually the best kingdom to set as a home kingdom, at least for now, mainly because it gives a glory tribute, and glory is very, very, very good. As you can see, we need those for those glory packs. We need it for a lot of things, and earlier on in the game we don't really have that much. So let's just go now and end out this video by opening up these glory keys and going over these troops. Please get us some good drops. Hey, there's the glory I was talking about. Oh, the glory. Okay, I'm just gonna click through them, I think. Let's do it all at once. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We did get an epic. I was hoping that we would get some epics or higher. Unfortunately, it is not a particularly good epic, though this earlier on in the game there are going to be quite a few uses for it. Deals damage to an enemy, then deals triple damage if they use red mana. So a extremely hard red mana counter here, if we ever need to get one. Dragon Moth is basically useless. You'd never need to use it in its current state. Druid is decent, deals damage to 2 random enemies, and then 1 to the adjacent enemies. It actually has one of the highest damage potentials as you start gaining magic on it, as far as early game options at this low of a rarity. Normally with things like Valkyrie and stuff like that, it's pretty good. Though things with boost ratios do tend to be better. We won't need this until probably a little bit more towards mid game. Probably as we gain about 50 more levels, we might want to make some kind of team around the Druid, because we do need him traded to really fully utilize him, which we can't currently do, and without it, we kind of don't want to do it. We do want to focus, whenever we are this low, we do want to focus on things that have boost ratio. While Gorgon isn't a particularly good one, he still has a boost ratio, destroys a row, deals damage to a random enemy, boosted by how many reds he destroys. Anything with a boost ratio tends to be decent. Oh, Tacet Warrior. Here's another thing that works good and is based around things that have armor. It gives an ally armor and then deals damage to all enemies, split among them based on how much armor that troop now has. Trent we use mainly as a tank. It gains attack and armor, and then removes all brown, and at a 4-to-1 ratio gains additional attack and armor based on that. Wyvern is, I think, the weakest dragon in the entire game, fighting for that position with Dragon Moth, which is also the weakest dragon in the entire game, both of which you basically never need to use. Watcher, won't really need it that much. It just deals true damage to an enemy, as well as 1 true damage to adjacent enemies, and if they happen to have a status effect, it drains all their mana. If it naturally had a automatic drain, it would probably be okay, but the fact that it requires a status effect to be on them makes it pretty weak. Here we have a Yeti. Yeti we won't really be needing. We don't really have anything that can freeze right now. It deals damage to an enemy and then deals double if they're frozen. Won't really need it. Archon Statue, very good early on in the game, mainly because he does an additional 8 damage if he is damaged. So, and of course damage is whenever you are missing any HP on your troop, and it hits the healthiest, and healthiest is whatever troop is on the enemy team that has the highest armor and HP combined. It's not based on HP, it's not based on armor, it's based on the combination of both of them. And Dragontar, the third component that we needed to be able to do the all dragon team. The only thing we need now is Dragonian Assassin to put it all together. But it destroys a column, gives all dragon allies 1 attack and armor, boosted by yellow gems destroyed at a 2x ratio. Very, very, very powerful and absolutely needed if you're going to be making an all-dragon team earlier on in the game, which is actually one of the strongest possible teams currently within the game. So we'll definitely be doing that. Dwarf Lord, dwarves are pretty weak, but this one is slightly decent earlier on in the game. Deals damage to the first enemy, and then if it kills, it gains 8 armor. And for only 9 mana, that's somewhat decent. Hag, pretty useless. Just places a random status effect, then gives a random ally a skill boost. Won't really be needing it. Lion Prince is okay. He destroys a row, deals damage to the first 2 enemies, and based on how many yellow you destroy, does additional 2 damage per the yellow. Night Terror, useless, don't need it. It just deals damage to the weakest and then steals 1 magic from them. Poison Master, you could use kind of as an early game exploder, mainly because it poisons, which is pretty good earlier on in the game. It explodes random gems based on its magic, random green gems, I mean, and then poisons 2 random enemies. And Soothsayer. Soothsayer is a really good troop if we can get it fully traded, though. That's no time soon, so we won't be able to use him for a while. But you can choose a purple gem and then destroys a row and column. And that destroy means we actually accumulate all the mana for every single gem that's in that path. So very good mana generator. That magic buff that it does is very good because you can normally loop it. You can get quite a bit of his mana back, if not all of it. And when you get him fully traded, he can even cast this from the very first turn, which is really good for controlling the board. Right here, we got a Winter Knight. Explodes a mana gem, gains some armor, and that's boosted by the blue gems destroyed and gains barrier. It's a okay tank. For earlier on in the game, it could be decent, but I'm pretty sure I won't really be needing it too much. I'd rather use a Dryad to help our first troop out than I would want to use a Winter Knight, unless we're going an all-night team. And as you can see, we got quite a few trait stones here, as well as a Celestial trait stone, which that was an actual legendary, but these are used to get traits on epics and higher. Epics, legends, mythics, and your hero classes. Their third trait end up using this. Epics, I believe, use 1. Legendaries use 2. And I believe mythics are 4. And that's what we'll be needing these for, but later on in the game, we won't be needing this anytime soon. And as well as more of the epic arcanes. Arcanes are pretty hard to accumulate in a specific color, simply because there's so many of them. So red, yellow, we might be able to use that for something like our Valkyrie or some other troop that we have. And of course, we still get resources, just like the gold chest. Gold and glory chest both have the chance of giving additional resources. But anyways, that will pretty much wrap it up for this episode. Let me know if you have any other questions. Feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I'm trying to go over as many things as I can in early game. Also, let me know if you enjoy these longer videos. I don't know if some people want them shorter, longer. I basically just do however long it takes to explain everything without, or trying not to leave anything out that's not that's too relevant. So we will be streaming again later today. We're going to be streaming all of the grind to get up to rank 1 in PvP, or rank, well, this is what I mean when I say rank 1 in PvP. Every single week, I might as well explain it now. I was going to do it next video, which I will again, but I might as well briefly explain it because that's what our stream is going to be on. As you can see, we gain a lot of rewards just from gaining more and more rating. This rating is fairly easy to get up to 1,900 every single week once we get a somewhat competent team, which I believe with the troops we currently have drafted for all those chests, we should be able to build. As you can see, we get a lot of glory keys from this every single week, a lot of glory, a lot of souls, and a lot of gold. And pretty much every single week that you have the time to, you'll want to try farming up to rank 1 in PvP. This can be done in anywhere from about 2 to 5 hours. This early on in the game, it does take a little bit longer. Later in the game, you could do it in as low as under an hour. But we will be doing this during today's stream, basically until we hit that, just so we get all these keys, and then we'll have even more to open, more resources, and this just really helps you to accumulate everything in the game, being able to do this every single week, and we'll be doing that later today then. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.